books have a really strange way of finding us when we stop looking for them. Because this really happened to me recently. I was like under a reading slump for a long time, and finally after 4 months I got back into my reading era. And guess what I picked? So I picked Satyajit Ray's collection of short stories, which I bought last year. And see, the cover page is this, and this is actually a very interesting read because I just read 2 short stories from it and I am already hooked to it. So the short stories which I read was, one is the Bonka Babu's friend, and the other one is the Pterodactyl's egg. So these stories must feel very mundane, very simple. Protagonist is like not so heroic, unlike the epic stories or epic poems. But what goes beyond is that Satyajit Ray, we may all know him as the prominent film director, but he also has a great contribution in literary world. Satyajit Ray, especially in Bengali literature. So Satyajit Ray's collection of short stories is something which I really wanted to read from really since a long time. So I finally bought it last year, but now I got my hands today on it. And you know, I was really in a very unlikely situation. My all fellow readers would like relate it to that when you find yourself in a situation where you want to finish a book in one go, but you could not somehow, because there is always a lot going on in your life, but it becomes frustrating enough and really a little bit heartbreaking also. It happened to me, but now finally I am out of that slump, I hope. So I have these short story collections, the collection of these short stories, which I am going to finish probably like in a month or two, which I am in, because meanwhile in between I can also get a read of Hardy or something, which I always feed on tragedy and mystery, which you might be aware as of now if you have been following me since a long time. So yeah, I can get onto that soon, but I will not lose the hook of it because I am going to read at least one story every day, and it has I think 49 stories in total, around 50 almost. So yes, let's talk about the characters first. Before that, let's talk about the writing style first. So what we liked about Ray's writing style here is that he writes, although these short stories definitely must remind you as a simple story where an alien element is added and where there is sci-fi also connected to the real world, but all things which he did without disconnecting with the psychological reality of life, psychological and emotional layers of humanity. So he included pretty much everything, I can say, at once. There is horror, there is wonder, there is humiliation deeply in the first short story especially, but also there is science. And what is more special than connecting two different worlds? Even there is a reference to an extraterrestrial world where the alien comes from. So the blend of everything, and it becomes magic. So yeah, the first story is pretty much about a protagonist, Bonku Babu, who is a Bengali and a maths teacher, lives in a rural area, in a rural background, comes from a rural background, in a rural Bengali setup, and who is usually mocked by his colleagues, and usually he is forced to join those meetups where he's been always being mocked at, so for no reason at all. I mean, mocked at, or the students throw these pranks on him. I mean, by all means he's been suffering. Okay, he has suffered a lot, so now at this point he has really no self-respect left for him, and he never protests. I mean, he never did that, and he has no friend apparently, and he is really not in a stable financial condition. That's why he could not resign from his current job and get another on his hands. So he is totally messed up, in a situation which is totally messed up. But what he found later brings a twist to the story. He gets this encounter with an alien who's from extraterrestrial, from some planet. I do not recall the name. I think it's Cratius. Yeah, I'm going to read few lines from the book, like the part where I like the narrative the best. So yeah, there we can find it. So he's from a planet, I think Cratius, which is far beyond and which is definitely imaginary. So this alien gives him a lot of life lessons which he did not least expected from someone like an alien. Okay, and that brought the turning point to his life. There is this first story which you read and you will really find something really interesting about how beautifully one can connect life with science. I mean, I know you have, like, most of you have already read a lot of stories like this based on this genre and these themes, but yes, this is something special because it's by Satyajit Ray, and come on, we all know that Satyajit Ray is a genius. So when it comes to writing, he is a legend. Okay, now the other one comes is a bit unique and a bit curious, like more curious. One can, you really pique their curiosity at this point. This one is Pterodactyl's egg. So it is definitely very much unlike, okay, like the title suggests nothing to the story. You cannot connect to the plot just by hearing the title, because you have to read it. So the character here is the Babu, and then we all like add these these surnames. These Babu, this term has been used as a surname or as more of as a respect, because it's from the context is Bengal, like the historical, I would not use historical, because in today's times also they use these Babu and as more of as a respect or a surname for the characters, because it's the culture, it's the custom there. So yes, this Babu is a clerk, and he has a very simple life. He leads a very simple life, and he has a child to whom he always narrates multiple short stories, often created by himself. He does not get enough time to write those stories, but he thinks a lot. He's really imaginative and curious, like the curiosity in him is at peak often. So he gets little time for himself and thinks a lot. So he gets encountered with a strange man who also appears to be a scholar, a research scholar basically, who has a like peculiar knowledge of history and art. Because I would say peculiar because it really seems very strange, because he talks about time machines and talks about the era of the human history when there was like literally mankind was not there, and he talks about reptiles and also the time machine. And when he mentions the great novelist H.G. Wells, then he also refused to believe, like, no, I am talking about some other people who are even more renowned than these Western writers and Western philosophers, but do not get that much acknowledged by everyone. So finally, at the end, what happens, I would not reveal, but something really unexpected happens, but it is worth happening. He finds it worth happening. He doesn't lose hope and doesn't feel sad or terrible about it, whatever happened to him, because he got to learn something new and which he can, actually put use to his life. So yes, he really liked that encounter. So like it's all for today. I mean, these two short stories I would suggest you to read. I suggest you to take this book, like get your hands on it and really read all the stories in it, because if this can bring me out of my reading slump, I'm sure it also going to be helpful for you in some ways. Thank you so much.